Thank you, Alfred. No, I haven't.
You haven't slept since last night?
No, I haven't.
Why?
Well, I left Parliament at about just after midnight.
After midnight?
Yes. We basically finished proceedings just around midnight. So we left Parliament around midnight, but, one could not sleep. One could not sleep. And then, of course, I have to be here.
Now, let me understand. So after the approval of the ministers, which was around 7 p.m. thereabouts, what did you do next?
Well, we did the judges as well.
So you eventually approved the judges?
Yeah, yes. Well, they approved the judges, yeah.
That was after the standoff earlier and your position that you were not going to approve them. The judges too were approved?
Yeah.
I see. Wow. So why couldn't you sleep?
Thank you, and good morning to our viewers, and good morning to the panel here of brothers, Professor, and then my good brothers. And good morning to you.
Yes, morning again.
I did not actually sort of shout a lot in Parliament, but I seem to be losing my voice, so I don't know the medical explanation for it. Yesterday was a sad day for democracy.
You say yesterday was a sad day for democracy. Why?
And if democracy, I'm talking about the legislature. We are responsible for providing an oversight. We have an oversight responsibility of the executives, and that is the executive. That is, we check the executive to make sure that first, the taxpayers' money is used judiciously, and that the government is performing to obviously what they told the people that they will do. So we act as basically we looked at the performance and whatever is going wrong as far as the executive is concerned. So we failed in our responsibility yesterday, and it was mainly by those that the people are expecting to hold government accountable, and that is the opposition. We fail in our duty for three main reasons, in my opinion. There may be other reasons, there may be other views, but
you narrow it down to three main reasons.
Three main reasons.
But you say you have failed the Ghanaian people.
The minority failed the Ghanaian people yesterday. We did. No doubt in my mind. Especially after having more or less the excitement of people that we will do A, B, C, and then we ended up, starting from Z, Y, X. And it was quite shameful, still shameful. We have disgraced ourselves as minority. We completely disgraced ourselves.
You've disgraced yourself?
Absolutely. We were not disgraced. Though we lost the vote, but you would have thought that the loser was disgraced by the winner. But here is a case where the loser actually disgraced itself.
So you engineered your own disgrace?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And for three reasons, in my mind. Number one, and if the NDC is going to have any future and be an alternative government, then we should wake up and address some of the problems that's been going on for a while, and then it's been compounded by other issues lately. And that is what is also to where we found ourselves yesterday. Number one is about sabotage.
Sabotage. Who sabotaged?
I wouldn't, mince words on this. Sabotage of the new executives.
Sabotage of the new executives.
Absolutely. We have a few people, or many, when you look at the votes, who, you know what happened at the beginning of this parliament, where we had changes in leadership, and you know what happened. Some people were not happy. Most of their unhappiness, I think, was based on principle as to how the whole exercise was conducted, and that some members of parliament felt that there should have been some consultation earlier on before that decision, and that's my understanding, and that they were not against the new leaders coming in led by Honorable Atuforson, but rather the manner in which the party actually carried out the exercise, which was fair in my mind. But since then, things look as if they have calmed down. It looks as if we are getting along. But my suspicion was realized yesterday that things have not healed, and that there is a group or a small group who were not happy with events, and that they are out there basically to sabotage the new executives to make sure that they fail. This, let me clarify something. This is not, I'm not suggesting that leaders, the old leaders, Honorable Haruna Idrisu and Muntaka and Honorable Aveji, played any part in this sabotage that I'm talking about. But it looks as if, let's say, supporters or people who were sympathetic to what happened, some have moved on. Some said clearly that their issue was on principle and that they were not interested in, basically who is leading us as long as the right things are done. So they have moved on. I mean, we talked to colleagues, they have moved on and said, okay, if this is what it is, now let's form a new, united front and deal with this. But I believe that there is still a few people, and as I said, I'm not talking about the leaders themselves,
the previous leaders,
but people who, I wouldn't say supporters, but were not happy with events, felt that they should punish the party. And by punishing the party, they punish themselves and punish all of us.
But the leaders, the previous leaders, the leadership of the minority indicated they had moved on. As a party, the leadership and some other eminent persons within the party met the previous leadership, spoke to them. They all, made public statements that they had moved on. And so why would you say that it was a sabotage by some of the people sympathetic to them?
Yes. I mean, you did say the leaders have moved on.
They moved on with their sympathizers.
Well, I mean, sometimes sympathizers do things different from what the leader even recommend. Because, look, it's just having followers. In a political party, you have followers, and then you have opponents. Usually, you tend to forgive first before your opponent, before your supporters, because whatever was happening between you and your opponent becomes a deep-seated issue among the supporters. Funny enough, and sometimes when you want to even say that, look, let's call for peace, there may be people on your side who will say no, we won't have it, because they tend to do more of the damage to themselves than even the leaders themselves.
Assuming you want to go with this narrative of a sabotage, which you say is your own understanding of what happened yesterday, the new leadership was sabotaged. This is not the first time we've seen such surprises on the part of the minority NDC. Even during the era of the previous leadership, which was changed. I mean, remember the approval of Kojo Nkrumah, Hawa Kumsin, and then the finance minister. You took a position, right? The party and the minority took a position. But then things went the other way. The same outcome.
Well,
okay, so where lies this sabotage? If it is all about the new leadership, even though this has happened again the same way in the previous leadership regime.
Alfred, I haven't finished. I think I remember telling you that there are three things. So I've just mentioned the first one, which is probably more current than the others.
I see.
So it was a clear undermining of Honorable Atufoson's leadership as a punishment to the party, that is the party leadership, Honorable Asiedun Nketia, the chairman, and the general secretary mainly. And number two is to do with greed.
Greed?
Yes.
On the part of who?
On the part of some of our MPs.
NDC MPs?
NDC MPs, yes. And this is perhaps one of the things that you could cite to be part of the previous reasons where you just mentioned we got to where we did. So that there are some people who don't see the collective interests of what we are trying to achieve as a party, and that they are more interested in themselves making money as quick as they can, and by selling the NDC, selling the caucus or the minority caucus, when we are in a position of strength, that if it looks as if we have something good that we've talked about that we intend to achieve, others use that to go and negotiate for their own selfish interest on the other side. So
what you're saying is that some NDC MPs were bribed, they took money?
Absolutely. No doubt. Because before we went into
You know that for sure?
No doubt. Because things added up. Let me tell you why I said no doubt.
I see.
They told us, as our leadership, the number of people on our side that they are 100% sure that they've got them. They told us.
Really?
And was it a coincidence that the numbers happen to be the same?
So the new leadership told you that some of you and NDC MPs have been bought?
Yes.
They told you before you went into the voting?
They went into a meeting and our opponents told them that we've bought your people, so be careful what you're trying to do.
NPP MPs told you?
Yes.
That some of you NDC MPs
Well, that's what my leaders told me.
Your leadership told you this?
Yes.
Kesla forcing and
yes,
they said it to you?
Yes.
That some of you NDC MPs have been bought?
Yes.
They knew this before the voting?
Yes.
So why then did they come out at a press conference to say that they are standing with the Ghanaian people and that they are going to reject the nominees?
First of all, you know, there are psychological games with this.
That press conference was an hour or so before the voting.
There are psychological games in this whole thing. That somebody could come and tell you that, look, we've done this, we've done that, we've done that. Most of the time, that might not be the case, but it's a way of trying to put a fear of God in you. Because we have, on numerous occasions, where there had been suspicion, people have been approached by the leadership to put it to them that, look, this is the information that we have, and you've got to be careful. And of course, people will deny, people will say all sorts of things. There were some dynamics in this whole thing, and that is the third one that I will come to. And then after, when I get the opportunity, I can explain each one for you. The third one, which is also unique, and that is the difference between the confirmation of the ministers and that of the judges, and you could see that in the numbers. That is to do with friends, people on the NDC side who are friends and family of some of the nominees,
of the judges.
Now ministers. No,
the ministers.
Ministers.
I see.
So we had a lot of discussion. A lot of things went on where leadership, people themselves came and said, look, this guy is my mother's brother, so he's my uncle, and you know,
I can't do anything.
It's going to be difficult for me to vote against my uncle, especially if you are expecting 136 or whatever, and it happens to be 136. My uncle will know that I didn't, you know, vote for him. This guy is my best friend and all that. You remember, as you rightly pointed out, in the appointment committee, where Honorable Brian Achampon was telling Honorable Atuforsen that you are my friend.
Indeed.
We are friends. We are actually friends. You know, whatever you see and everything, there is some friendship. People eat together, people do all sorts of things together. Some hang out together. Okay? But generally, there is a civil way to work with one another in Parliament. Also, when it comes to ministerial appointment, there's always a way, you know, because there is this notion that today you are in power and you are being appointed a minister, and then if I resist your appointment, tomorrow it will be you, and same thing might happen. So, kind of scratch your back, you scratch my back kind of situation. But what happened was that challenge, so people came out and say, this person is this. And then in the end, we had a party position. The party position was not based on the qualification of the individuals nominated. It was not based on their personality. It was not based on any of them. It was based on the principle that this government, the ministers, are too large, too many, and that even the IMF that we are trying to seek extended facility from, the Paris Club, we're trying to restructure our debt, are all saying that we have too many ministers and we should reduce the size of our ministers, civil society, and ourselves. So, as part of our oversight responsibility, where the president has refused to heed to the advice of reducing the number of ministers, we thought we have the tool, or we had the tool, to be able to force the issue. And that is, if we do reject the new ministers he's adding to the original, I know some of them are just replacing others.
Yes.
If we're able to do that and say that, look, we will approve any more ministers if those ministers are relevant, and that there's a ministries that you can actually put together and do not maybe need separate ministers and all that. So we thought that we could do that from there. So based on that principle, not on any of the 6 people that the president had nominated, and we had communicated this to the world clearly, that our position is not about K.T. Hammond or Brian Achampon, but it's about the principle that we should, if we're going to an IMF program, what do you go to an IMF program for? To enhance your revenue and then also rationalize your expenditure. That's what the whole financial fiscal consolidation is about. So if you are coming to Parliament and trying to ask us to approve some tax measures and all that, bills and all that, in order to enhance your revenue, because our revenue is below 16%, much lower than our peers, and we need to ramp this up to maybe about 20%. These are part of the measures that the IMF wants to see us do, so that we'll be able to build our revenue. On the other side of the balance sheet, they also want us to reduce our expenditure. But this is a government who is not prepared to reduce the number of ministers, but has also added over 80 billion to its expenditure.
So that's what. So you essentially wanted to use this appointment process,
absolutely,
to disapprove of these ministers.
Yeah.
So to force government to cut down the size.
Absolutely.
But
that was the
principle. Failed.
But we failed.
And
we failed as a result of
all these three factors.
All these 3 reasons I've given you.
Sabotage, greed on the part of some of your colleague NDC MPs whom you allege have were bribed.
And the greediness has been there for long.
Told you that some of your colleagues and NDC MPs have been compromised even before you went into the vote.
I remember telling you, just a quick one. I remember telling you when I was last year that because of greed and other things, we were not able to win the vote of censure. And I cite myself as a personal example where I was actually disenfranchised.
You were disenfranchised. You didn't
to contribute to a debate. At the 11th hour when I was about to talk, old leadership, came to tell me that we've taken your name off the list now. When they knew for over a week the preparation I've put in place and the stuff that I had, which we thought would be able to nail them. So that greed has been there for long. Well, we've just added to it other things.
Wow. This is what happened.
This is what happened. I was a victim of the greed because we could have nailed the finance minister. I always say that.
But you were told to keep quiet.
At the 11th hour, if they had given me enough time, I would have probably reacted. But when I was the next to speak. My everything. I've been given all the assurance. Nail this guy for us. I was ready to do the nailing. Then they took the hammer from me.
Who took the hammer from you?
Well, leadership.
You mean the NDC leadership?
Yes. At the time.
Minority leadership?
Yes.
In Parliament?
Yes. I mean, I'm not going to hide this. I'm telling you. They are listening. They know. I mean,
and what
this is what happened.
Give for that?
Well, leadership is fluid. Information comes at the 11th hour. Something has come up. We have to take your name. I couldn't. So the end of that session, I couldn't see anything that happened that was fluid enough to demand that.